business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Hello, welcome to Not a Real Job. My name's Steve. I'm the sound editor. I'm not usually on the podcast, but welcome. Over to you, Chris.
Hello, I am Chris, and I make websites in Barcelona, except that I'm not there right now. Joel, where are we?
Who could say? Somewhere within the city of Westminster? No.
Maybe?
We're outside of that now.
It's entirely possible.
I don't know.
Anyway, borough of Westminster, I think. So
are we?
pretty
sweet,
yeah.
And I'm Joel, and I do marketing stuff in Canada, but currently in London.
There's a London in Canada.
There's a London, Ontario, but that doesn't really count.
Also with us here.
You're making this extremely awkward.
More than it already is.
So we've already got people staring at us. Sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. We do a podcast. It's a thing. It's not. It's the first time we've all been in a room together, so it's very exciting.
Worcester. Just up the way.
So we're literally recording in a pub right now in London's Marylebone. Is that the
Marylebone?
Marylebone station? Because Joel and I were here in London, and when Steve heard that, he said, "I'm dropping everything and coming to London to meet you as well."
Yeah.
Close enough.
As people do.
People always do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It happened in New York. It's happened in London.
We're an international PCast.
Yeah, I know. It's upsetting when you say it like that. It is, yeah, but that's more or less why we continue to say it, I think. Yeah.
Also here with us, although she has tried to opt out, is Joel's wife, Leah, who
Our
was
official documentarian.
Official documentarian, but who has also been on the show before.
Episode...
Early days?
Early
days.
Soup's early. Back when it was still a pay-per-play.
Yeah, and when we still had topics.
You guys had advice worth paying for.
I mean, that's generous, but thank you.
You answered my question beautifully. It worked.
She's obligated to say that because the marriage thing.
It was
the prenup.
Yeah, the prenup actually had very
specific future approval of all podcasts and commentary.
Yeah,
anything
specific clause around that. So, I suggested we come up with a topic before we started talking. I was voted down. Why don't we make this? Because I am fascinated to know how you're going to make this at all listenable. Steve, why don't you tell us a little bit about, what's going to be step one to see if this is a salvageable recording?
Well, I would like to think it's not too noisy, as I think we've talked about. There is music playing in the background, which isn't great. The road and traffic noise outside isn't too bad, I don't think, but that will come through in rumbles and knocks that we don't know about until later on listening to it back. So noise filtering to begin with, and then filtering out, low frequency knocks and bumps and start with that. Chopping out any bits where we're talking nonsense that it doesn't need to go in. Mm-hmm. That doesn't often happen.
So most of the show.
Well, yeah, you've got to...
I have noticed
where does the axe fall? Yeah.
You've taken out gaps before that were pregnant pauses so that we address the gap that ends up not being in the show.
Yeah.
It was
it's
actually
like a siren thing in a way.
Yeah.
If you reference it, I've got to leave it in, just because it makes no sense whatsoever to anybody otherwise.
But it was a recent episode where we both had just stopped talking and we thought the audio had gone out.
Oh yeah.
But then that pause was removed, so it's just complete nonsense.
It's 8 seconds long though. It's actually listening to it. This can't stay in. But
yeah.
I've actually had that happen though, where actually recently I was listening to a podcast and there was a pause in the audio for a long time.
And you think it's...
I picked up my phone to see if something had happened or the podcast had shut off or something, but no. So
it's totally the right thing to do.
But isn't that just part of natural conversation? And wouldn't that add to making it feel more like an actual conversation?
The long pauses?
They happen.
I think it does if you can tell that it's still playing.
If you know it's still playing, absolutely.
This was just part of...
Yeah.
Well, I think in this situation...
It's like John Cage's... How many?
433.
433. If you know it's happening,
it
works. But if you think something is broken, we've literally chased someone away already.
One of my first.
He hates the podcast so much. He left.
Timmy.
Like a
Sorry for the audio listeners at home who aren't watching the live feed.
That's why I was taking pictures.
We had an audience of one, and he just left.
Ran away.
Yeah, he's initially enthusiastic, but seems to have shown his. Not interested now.
Yeah, I don't
he's
blame
gone
him,
to
to be
find another
fair.
podcast. Recorded somewhere else. Just looking for this guy.
There's my question
Yeah.
for you. Do you know if your listeners listen to this and feel like they are part of the conversation? Because there's certain podcasts you can listen to and you feel like you are simply another character at the table enjoying a family dinner with these people. Or are they listening to it for the information that you may or may not provide them?
Oh,
based
I
on the title name?
certainly don't think there's anyone left who's looking for information.
Okay, so if
I
that's
can
the
say
point, then
this.
maybe the pregnant pauses are okay because they're part of the chatter. It's like when we've yelled at podcasts before.
Right.
We feel like
Do
we're
yell
part
at
of it.
podcasts
I yell
a
at podcasts
lot.
and awful. I yell
Yeah.
at TV too, though. I yell.
I can say
so
this.
upset, like
I
the minute
find
I'm
it
in particular, sometimes I just yell at the
You feel? I feel part of the conversation.
We are a conversation.
something gross.
And now there are 4 conversations.
4 individual conversations happening at once.
This is why we don't record a lot of live episodes
Yeah.
in person.
This will be live episode 4
or 5.
2 in New York, 1 in Toronto.
Yep. Did we do one in Halifax?
I don't think we've ever recorded in Halifax.
Yeah, that's right. You were busy getting
I got married that time.
the old
Sorry.
ball and chain.
You did too, didn't you?
Sorry for
That
slowing down the
weekend when-
podcast, Chris.
Am I getting that wrong? When you were staying up for the wedding, didn't you do one in Halifax? I'm sure you did.
Did we?
I think
you?
you did.
When?
Well, all 3 of you were on it. No, you had a different guest, female guest. I can't remember.
No, that
her
was
name.
Toronto.
That was Toronto.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry.
I was trying to with Sarah.
That was Toronto, which was very closely
wedding.
after the wedding.
Right.
It was like may have been 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super close.
Because we got back from like Cottage Away, and then it was like the following weekend, I think, we went to Toronto.
Yeah.
Because you were up for work camp or something, some conference. Yeah.
Spending his time cutting me out of photos.
Yeah, that's an awkward thing we should discuss while you're both in the room. The profile photo you use across the internet now is a photo in which Leah was once prominent
I like to think that
True
she still
story.
is.
in her wedding dress.
Just outside the frame.
So in the conversation, not only is someone ripping on you for cutting out someone's wife, but you cut out the bride at her own wedding.
So here's the thing.
And I looked delightful in the photo.
You did.
It wasn't even
Yeah.
a bad photo.
Yeah, that's
It was
not
a
good.
wonderful
That's not
photo.
good.
I'm using this photo on several dating online platforms.
I could
really
give the
did
wrong
not have-
impression.
Exactly.
what?
But if you kept her in, you're a man who attends a wedding. You know?
Some lucky girl could be your date to a fantastic
Yeah.
wedding.
It looks like it
fun
already
one.
happened.
But you're a person who
You're a man
attends
about
this
town.
style of event. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
International playboy.
Sure. I mean, I am that. I am international, if nothing else.
If literally, if nothing
I like
else, you have
playing,
traveled to more than
and I
one
am a
country.
boy. So I am.
Ugh, the word boy is
That
upsetting.
got weird.
Well, that's why they made the whole "It's Always Sunny" episode with the musical, and they say "boy" a lot. and
Ah,
it's
sorry,
awkward.
no, I don't think I've seen that one.
You don't watch?
Oh,
Yes,
is
you
that
have.
when Frank was painted white, basically, and was doing a whole, like, kiddie fiddly type sort
No,
of
no, this
references
is
a
the
lot?
one. This is
They did a
Nightman
musical?
Cometh.
Yeah, they
No, no,
did.
look, I've watched
Oh,
the show,
yeah.
but I'm by
Good.
no means caught up. Like, I have watched several
is-
seasons randomly.
The
Watched it
Nightman
like twice
Cometh
over.
is
Yeah.
one of the greatest
I have like season
episodes
4
of
on
that
my
program.
iPad, which means I've watched
Period.
it several times.
They take a note.
They took the musical on a tour, on a live tour. It was so good.
Here's what we'll do. We'll put
Okay.
the full episode in the show notes. We'll link to a torrent.
Worry about lawyers later.
Exactly.
Oh, we can get Amazon referral bucks. That's our recommendation.
Oh, perfect. Oh, this is great. Gear recommendation already.
Nailed
We
it.
nailed it.
Actually, it is on Prime, isn't it? I think of it.
Are we already in
Yeah, there you go,
housekeeping?
yeah.
Did we finish the show?
That's
Has
what-
this-
there you go.
is
That's
this-
that point.
Guys,
Will.
we're
Yeah.
not even 10 minutes
This
in
show
yet.
has always been a race to housekeeping.
Well, especially lately with the internet situation in Barcelona.
It's been a nightmare. Like, I don't think we can stress how difficult the show has been to get through. Like, we always start on Mumble,
Yeah.
realize Mumble doesn't work, switch to phone, realize phone doesn't work, and then just do it anyway.
No. Last week our progression was starting in Mumble, then we tried to do it on Skype. Then I Skyped your phone,
Yeah.
your cell phone, and then we went back. I think we just kept doing it.
I think we just went for it.
we just settled.
Yeah. Because the problem is always going to be, it's always the internet. Like, even if you're Skyping my phone,
Yeah, the connection's still
internet.
going to be the bottleneck. But about 3 episodes ago, the audio quality was amazing when you kept going on that it was going to be a problem because you'd lost the actual connection in the internet cafe, I think you were, and then you went on cell instead.
Yeah.
To call, and the audio just ended up being a lot better than
The audio is great,
like
but it's us hearing each other. The extreme delay
sort of slap back
makes
a bit,
it so difficult.
Well, the last
distracting.
episode in particular was just
Right.
unbearable.
It had. There's a few things that can go wrong because if we switch to Chris calling my phone, then I have to. If I'm still wearing like my noise canceling headphones, I can't hear myself. So I've got to put like. Or find other headphones, but like that's mid-show. It's like go track down some other headphones because when we record properly, I'm plugged in my computer, so it's piping my audio back into my ears, like it should.
Yeah.
But that can be super difficult. But yeah, the audio turns out fine because we're both recording separately, but it's extremely difficult to. Because I mean, let's face it, timing is kind of what the show's about.
I mean, really, that's basically the only thing the show's about.
It's witticisms based
all
on
the timing.
abrupt timing. So I think the other thing that I wanted to talk about specifically was so we've both been attempting to get work done in other places. How are you finding your workflow in Barcelona? Because I can talk a little bit about how I'm finding things in London.
Well, I'll start by saying that in London, I'm not doing anything.
You're on vacay. On holiday, sorry.
Yeah, I'm on holiday.
As it should be. Yeah.
I've only done like the barest email management, like literally just archiving PayPal notifications, like just basic stuff. Like I'm not responding to anything. So in London has proven so far to be basically useless work-wise, which is actually, it's what I wanted. It's good. Barcelona, the first couple weeks were really rough. Like really to the point where I basically lost 2 weeks of work because I just couldn't get used to it. Time zone wise, the internet was terrible for our first couple weeks until we finally switched providers. But now I've sort of got a routine. I've got a coffee shop. I think we may have talked on the show, like the coffee shop is a super important part of my routine. Like when I'm in New York, every morning, like 6:30 a.m., I hit the coffee shop, work until 11, and that's like my prime.
What time do you get up if you're doing that at 6:30 a.m.?
I'm usually up right by like 5:30 or 6 in New York.
Wow, by choice.
Yeah, well,
Chris is an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, I go to bed super early, wake up super early. Here,
always sleepy.
That's hot to be built before bed.
And always needs a dessert. No, I don't know. That's an old person thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, always asks if there's pie.
I always need a Werther's original.
Yeah, exactly. His pockets are full of crumbly candy. Peepum's nasty gum, if you will.
I will.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that I've got my routine going, of course in Barcelona, like really I'm still on East Coast time because I'll wake up at 10 and then go to bed at like 1 or 2 now.
Now, are your clients mostly in like the New York times, like Eastern time zone? We've done an episode about time zones, so I don't want to concentrate too much about that. But like, where are you mostly?
It's actually a mix. So right now, the clients that I'm working with most are in Central Time in the United States. So that's 1 hour behind New York, but also Central Time in Europe. So I have a client in France who I'm visiting.
There are 2 Central Times.
Yes, I think it's actually Central European Time. But yeah, so obviously working with him has been fine because we're on the same time zone.
That's ideal.
And with the other client, it doesn't matter so much because we're mostly maintenance on that project now. But
what time zone are we in right now?
We're in
Greenwich Mean Time.
summertime,
Greenwich,
right?
well, yeah, we've just gone forward by an hour for the sort of daylight savings thing last Sunday. So yeah, we're in
Last Sunday was daylight savings.
Just gone, yeah. So just
I thought it was tomorrow. Okay.
I think
No,
it's
thankfully
UTC
not.
plus 1.
Okay.
It's enough of a disruption, pointlessly.
Yeah, well, but see what the American Canada did is that we all used to do daylight savings at the same time.
Yeah.
Now American Canada do it a month
think that's to
early.
be different.
So
Gotta be
it's
different.
really made so we're getting more and more UK clients. So the time zone change has been like the time zone enough was not bad. We can figure it out. And I would always prefer to work earlier than later. So the fact that like our UK clients are starting the day earlier than us was an advantage for me. It's like I'm up, I roll out of bed and I'm on my computer every day anyway, so I'm kind of caught up. But then the switch from 4 hours to 3 hours.
No, 4 to 5.
Yeah, that would be right. Because New York.
No, because we jumped ahead. We lost an hour.
Oh, right, yeah.
We went
you're
from
right.
4 hours
Sorry,
difference to 3 hours
I'm
difference.
thinking of New York.
And then the UK went ahead an hour, so now we're back to 4 hours.
Right.
That's my
Which
mistake.
is
Is it 4 hours? I thought it was 6, and New York's 5. I thought.
New York is 5 and Halifax
yeah.
is
So
6.
the farther away
Oh,
you
I
get,
got
it's
that
more
wrong way around
hours.
then. Okay, I was thought you were an hour ahead than-
Halifax is closer to the UK than New York.
Right, okay.
In fact, it's actually, we talk about this all the time. Coming here for work is the easiest flight we do.
Really?
Because like we Monday
on one
night
plane.
get on the red eye.
And you get off the plane.
No
Yeah.
change. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Fall
we-
asleep,
we
knock
just-
yourself out.
Exactly, yeah. And then like so we flew out Monday night, got off the plane, went to a hotel for meetings, did a full day of meetings, and then like we're caught up. Usually we go to Miami a lot, we go to South Carolina, go out, west to California. That's always connections, like connecting through O'Hare. That's your whole day. But coming here, it's just one flight, get off straight into meetings. It's the easiest thing in the world.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
How long is the flight though? It's like, is it
5 hours.
four
Four or 5 hours.
That's pretty good.
bad at all.
5 hours.
It's
We got on the
so
plane.
easy.
The lights were dimmed. They're like, and good night.
Yeah.
They serve
See you in the morning.
2 meals overnight. 2 meals,
Shades down.
3 to 4 drink cart times. They're always going through. It's great.
They want a quiet, passive.
Oh yeah, they will just
Yeah.
load you up with whatever you want.
Who do you fly? What's the
Air Canada.
Air Canada.
They were even specific. Like if you were in a window seat, they were like, please pull your shade down. Other people are trying to sleep.
Oh yeah,
I did
Do you
not
want to
like
look out the
Air
window?
Canada.
No.
That's different.
yeah. Air
So
Canada.
the first time on the
Yeah,
plane.
fine. That is a different
Not that
discussion.
time. Dream later.
We can't switch to an airline podcast. I feel like that's not.
We'll do an airline episode sometime.
As someone who flies a lot, I just feel like that's
hard
not
to
going to be
put sound
productive.
effects in to sound like you're in peril, like so the plane's about to go down, and then like you survive and you get through it. It's like one of those road trip episode type thing. That could be great.
I'm gonna have free Wi-Fi on my flight to Mexico, so maybe we'll record a podcast
On the
while I'm in the plane.
If we're ever, because I fly US Air usually, which is Wi-Fi on basically every plane. Every plane. Could you imagine if we both we're both on planes at the same time, attempting to record a podcast?
There'd be like a 3
Going
minute.
through time
God,
zones.
it would be
It's like a Doctor Who episode.
impossible. We'd have to like send out, Steve would have to cut out the pauses, but we would just send a dispatch each way. It would take us
Section by section.
It would take 3 hours to record a
Take the
20-minute
whole
podcast.
flight,
I think you'd rally the plane around you. I think you'd have like audience participation. It could be a whole thing.
yeah.
We just
Yeah.
have to be on the same flight sometime. That's going to be the trick.
How?
Can you imagine being the person sitting next to one of you while you're trying to record a podcast with another person on a plane? You know the nightmare to sit next to.
Sorry, what's that? Sorry, what's that? What? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if our original #1 fan was anything to go by, it won't last very long. Yeah. The fun will get
They would
killed
like the
quickly.
biscuits.
This fell apart pretty
Yeah.
quick. Yeah.
Oh my
Goodwill
goodness.
won't last long.
So anyway, we were talking about our productivity levels abroad.
I was really just trying to get us talking
Just
about
riffing.
something. Yeah, exactly. So you're doing fine. I'm doing. I would say I'm okay. Wi-Fi's been good, for the most part, pretty good. I was trying to on hotel/service department Wi-Fi. I was able to watch like HD video I needed to watch for a client.
Really?
Decently, like not good enough to be able to provide feedback to an editor. Like, wasn't.
Have you run a speed test?
I have not run a speed test. That's interesting. I
I'm
should
getting
probably do that.
5 down, 4 up in my current hotel.
That's not bad.
It's quite an odd ratio. It's pretty
Yeah,
good on the
Yeah,
up.
why is
Really
the
up
up
and
so
down.
good? Yeah. I get like 20 down, half up at home, like, and I'm paying $100 to get 10 up.
Yeah.
But no, never.
I pay
never
about
get-
£60 a month, which is close to nearly $100, and I get like 45 meg down, but like 8 meg up, which I still think is good.
That's
You know, like a 2
fantastic.
gig file on
I would.
Dropbox is about
I would
half an
pay
hour,
£60
so-
a month for that.
Back when I'm home, it's about 50 down, 15 up.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's only because
How crowded are your channels though? Because we have a problem where like
For the peak traffic hours.
our
things like that, yeah.
the
Not a problem at all.
our Wi-Fi channels, like in our specific apartment building, it's all students around us. They're constantly. It's torrents. Like I know our whole apartment building is BitTorrent constantly, so I know we're being throttled on up, which makes the podcast difficult. It makes uploading a Dropbox a pain in the ass. Like down, not a problem. You can download stuff blazingly fast.
Well, actually,
Netflix is fine.
Have you
Everything's
looked
good.
at Dropbox to make sure you're not throttling your upload?
Yes,
Yeah,
I am.
okay.
Because like they
Yeah.
do that
Enable
by
at the same
default.
time.
No, I looked at that. No, the issue is the fact that our 2.4 gigahertz or whatever that channel is, that's impossible. That's crowded as all hell. But even our 5 is super crowded.
Well,
and I know that Eastlink, our provider, has got to be throttling our whole building because it's all torrents.
You might want to try a VPN service. So actually, sometimes when I'm home in New York, like my internet will slow down a little bit, but I have a VPN that I use, like if I'm out at coffee shops or now while I'm traveling, just because I'm a paranoid bastard. But if I flip on the VPN, the speeds go back up. So it's clearly that they're filtering something. In the
Interesting.
process,
I haven't
and
tried that.
fixes
Yeah.
I mean, I recommend that anyway, just because it's safer than going into random coffee shops and getting your data stolen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I know I have to pay an extra £5 a month to get bandwidth prioritization with certain types of traffic, and like to not have the peak hours traffic thing between 5 p.m. and 12 at night.
that's-
Do they not have net neutrality?
Well, yeah, I was
No,
gonna
we
say
don't
it's
have to pay.
basically illegal.
Thanks for starting that, by the way. That's great. Yeah, thank you.
I
Hopefully that'll come
hope
to us at some point in 10 years, probably.
Oh man,
But, yeah,
I don't think
so-
Canada has that.
You don't have that? Yeah, because it's like a ratio, 100 to 1 or something. They call it in an area where they do like a basis share during peak hours, which is, I have to pay the extra just to get what I pay for in the first place.
Well,
which
I
is
guess
kind
I'm
of
not
strange.
moving to the UK.
No, that's very interesting. No, in Canada we have the issue of I think a single telco owns all the lines.
Yeah.
So wholesalers and stuff have to pay exorbitant amounts of money to get access to the lines, but I don't think like throttling is done on an ISP basis. Like they'll throttle you for whatever reason, but you can't pay to be unthrottled.
Oh, right, okay.
That's interesting, but it's definitely not, as far as I know, it's definitely not like by service. Like you can't.
Yeah, I think because of the whole net neutrality debate thing, it sort of now does feel like a two-lane, two-tier system.
Yeah,
but
that's not
it
right.
didn't used to like feel like that. It just felt like you were
Fascinating.
guaranteeing the thing
Now,
you thought you were paying for anyway.
Not to
but-
get political, but is this specifically the doing of David Cameron?
Get political. He's a bastard. Pardon my
Okay, yeah,
language.
no,
Did you
we're
watch
all.
the debates?
I did the full 2 hours.
I didn't watch it, but
we
I,
discussed the discussion, so which is quite
All I
nice.
heard was that Miliband did not do well.
No, and he was
Really?
That's all I
unable to
heard.
kind of
I
connect.
don't even know
with
what party he is.
I assume if he's not David Cameron, he's the good guy.
There were 7 of them up there,
Oh,
though, so everyone
Jesus.
other
there
than
was
David
seven,
Cameron.
and there was
yeah.
the projection that we were listening to in the camp was that there were two kind of front
many parties do you
Cameron
have?
and
See,
someone.
David Cameron
Yeah,
is not.
and it's
And
actually
they were
unique.
the two. It was two guys, and Cameron and another guy, but they were the
Nigel
front
Farage.
runners, and then
Yeah,
they
the,
kind of
basically,
I don't know what a Nigel
the 3
Farage
women
is.
on the panel
Sorry, we should get
completely
back to it.
dominated and did so much better without
Okay, good.
like shouting over each other and making completely ridiculous points. And they played by the debate rules, allowed the guys to speak and did the thing. They were minor parties like the SNPs, like the Scottish Nationalist Party, and they're kind of oh god, racism central. There's that guy, disregard him. Nigel Farage, yeah, it's terrible. He talked about immigration, everything, like anything NHS, everything was related back to immigration somehow with that guy. But terrible.
England seems to be pretty crazy about immigration and
because of him, I
isolationist.
think, he's brought points to the table that have made the kind of mimicking other parties, because it's become a thing, like other parties that could have concentrated on their own values have sort of dropped to the level of discussing the things that he's bringing
Oh yeah, you have to
appease the masses or whatever. So they're doing that catch up sort of thing. But yeah, basically, Ed Miliband, the only realistic alternative to David Cameron, did not do well. Not do well.
Labour Party?
Yeah, Labour Party, who I would normally vote for myself.
Right,
but
of course.
I probably still will, but despite him, basically, rather than for him. So, yeah.
Now, when is the vote? When would that happen? How soon is that?
15th of May.
Okay, so it's really soon.
Very soon, yeah.
Wow.
And that's the only debate we're going to get, with basically the two main sort of realistic choices
Fascinating.
actually having a chance to sort of shout it out. And the 18 minutes that 7 people on 7 podiums were given to shout over each other, that's not good enough. It's like a spectacle. It's pointless. It gives nothing in terms
That's
of
not a
information.
conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to for a second suggest the American system is superior, but at least there's
two
more than one debate.
Freaking years.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
way
That's,
too long
okay,
in your
yes.
build-up.
Yeah.
The election cycle should not
ridiculous.
last the entire term.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
But-
Canada does a decent job of. Our election cycle is only a few months, typically. It can happen
and
extremely
but
quickly because they can call elections.
They can call it, but what I love about the Canadian system is we have arguably 3, literally 5 parties that you can choose from. There's 3 main players. Unless you're in Quebec and then you just get your own party.
Two of which are liberal, one of which is conservative, so the conservatives keep winning because the two liberal parties keep splitting their votes.
Yeah, and it's painful. But we have
Like the current party
mandatory
running has like
politics.
less than they
We've
have
been
like
minority government
31% of the vote or
Yeah.
something it's something terrible. So it's
Yeah.
Combine your efforts, guys.
Yeah.
But we have mandatory election call dates. They are nationally.
I assume it's probably the same
But
thing.
like, you have to
there is
call
a
it by
we have the
four, like,
same
we know this date is coming,
parliamentary
but what
system.
happens
Yeah.
is that no one calls it in advance unless there's something absolutely crazy and it's Canada, so that doesn't happen.
Right, there's
So
no
you
crisis.
have, this window of time when it starts to slowly, and it's starting to slowly ramp up now that the conversation changes and it becomes very much a finger pointing. Nothing productive happens anymore. Everything is positioned around the economic action plan that we have, and I'd like to highlight the air quotes.
It's all about the economy and the recession Canada didn't go through.
And you're like,
and
we
the
have an
banking
economic-
crisis we never had.
because our banks are awesome.
And the crime rate which keeps going down. Like it's just
I was looking at minimum wage in terms of like
It's going up.
Yeah, like Canada way up there. Yeah.
Okay.
it's like but we of course we have an extremely conservative government for Canada. So it's like, we need more prisons. We definitely need some more mandatory
And
sentencing.
everyone should be afraid of the economy.
Definitely.
What could happen?
What could happen?
To the economy, we're like, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
Faring better than the globe.
Yeah. It's so frustrating, but
Half of the
it's
Canadians
just scare
follow.
tactics,
Yeah.
Violent crime,
such
just like the
Canadian
rest of the
scare
world, has
tactics
been
on
on
top of
an
that.
extreme decline for the last 40 years, but we definitely need more prisons for some reason.
Well, they can be fun.
Our scare tactics are still Canadian scare tactics, though. They're nothing compared to what you guys go through in the States.
We had one terrorist attack. It was one dude.
And several
one
people
gun.
are having national debates on if that was a terrorist attack or
Yeah,
if that was just violent crime.
Which is fantastic. We won't even go to, let's not use the T word. Which is fantastic. Canada is...
Sensationalized.
Rated
or
until we're
something,
sure,
yeah.
guys.
Anyway, I feel like we're at Gear Picks.
Yeah, we're at.
There it is. That's the moment.
That's the race to gear.
Right.
So here's the problem: I don't have internet, so I can't pull up Amazon to pick something.
You have nothing you would suggest people buy.
You could probably tether off my
What about this
3G.
cute little setup?
Yeah, what is... Oh,
What
you
about
this? We've already done this one, sadly.
Have we?
Yeah,
Well, there's probably something in there that I can recommend.
I love the little stand you've got for this little microphone.
That's not on Amazon.
No.
does it have to... I know that we only make money if it's Amazon, but...
We don't have to recommend Amazon.
Yeah.
But I like money.
Okay.
No, you go first, Joel.
Okay, well, I'm going to recommend a book. I've been rereading it since I've been here. Leah's rolling her eyes because I've been reading her passages, which she has not cared for at all. But it's a book called Pattern Recognition by William Gibson. It takes place in London for the most part, and it's just a great sci-fi. It's ostensibly a science fiction book, but it takes place in London in 2003, and it was actually written. It's like it takes place a year in the past, but it's a science fiction book, so it's about how our current world is really sci-fi, like what you could do. Anyway, it's a fantastic book. It takes place. There's awesome, great references to like Camden Town and all the places we've been over the last couple days. So, Pattern Recognition by William Gibson is my gear pick. Leah, you have to recommend a product.
From Amazon. Sorry, pregnant pause. I apologize.
You know what?
Quite right.
We'll come to you last. It looks like Steve has something prepared.
No, yeah, I thought, if we are.
We'll come back to you. Think about
I'm on
the
it.
product. Steve, please go.
Okay, well, I'm going to recommend Terry Pratchett's A Slip of the Keyboard, which is basically a collection of all of his editorials and magazine write-ups and articles. He passed away recently, a couple of weeks ago, and he's one of my personal favourite authors, and one of Britain's favourite authors, I would like to say. Plus, it's extremely funny, the kind of gear that he's been using since like 1985, using portable computers with like sort of £6 battery packs and transformers and all sorts of things that don't make it so portable anymore. So I recommend that.
Yeah,
It's off Amazon for around $12.99.
The whole Terry Pratchett, I've literally never read a single word of Terry Pratchett, but just as such an icon, and of course his fight with early onset dementia.
Yeah, Alzheimer's. And
Alzheimer's,
he's been
a proponent for,
considering how recently, like right up until his death, I think the most recent interview about that specific topic, it's on YouTube, in fact, was November last year, so we're talking sort of 4 months away from his actual passing away. It's quite...
sounds like he got to do what he intended to do.
Yeah,
which is
controversial. It may or may not have happened, but I don't think his family or publicist would even want to suggest anything.
Of course.
Although I would like to think that he got to do anything he personally felt he should be able to do. He campaigned for that, so
absolutely. Cool. Chris?
I am going to recommend the Motorola micro USB to mini USB adapter, which we are using as part of the audio setup here today. The microphone I use, which I've recommended before, the Samsung Go mic, has a mini USB cable, which is becoming much less common now that Android phones are using micro USB so much. That's kind of becoming the de facto standard right now. So this little, it's probably 3-4 inches. This little adapter makes it easy to switch from a more standard micro USB to the mini USB. It's very small. It has a nice little lanyard on it, so it's something you won't lose track of it. And yeah, that's my simple gear recommendation.
So do the micro USB and the mini USB look the same?
Roughly.
Almost. It's almost like one got squashed from the original.
Okay, because I have two, which I assume are micro USB. Like they're very small, very slim. But one works with some things and not with others, and the other, but they fit in. And what I find extremely frustrating is that I thought USB was a standard.
It is. But there are different types of USB.
Okay, but it shouldn't fit into the slot.
Maybe you just have a broken.
But it works with some things. Maybe it is the cable. Hopefully it's the cable.
I blame the cable.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's probably the cable.
It's the cable.
It's the cable. I'm actually I'm already mourning the inevitable loss of the Lightning cable from Apple.
Oh no, it's not going anywhere.
You don't think so? But you don't think it's going to switch entirely to USB-C?
No, I don't think so. I think they want a proprietary port. I think for Macs, where it's important for anyone to be able to build interfaces, they'll want that. But I think the Lightning is still smaller than USB-C, and I think they want more control over iOS than they do over OS X.
I hope you're right. Because the Lightning cable is the best cable I think I've used.
I'm pretty sure that John Gruber posted something on Daring Fireball about exactly this, and I'm pretty sure it was his own thoughts, not like somebody else's that he linked to, but the general consensus was that it's not going anywhere because it's a platform they need more control.
Excellent. Thunderbolt, though. Gone?
Probably dead.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Leah?
My recommendation is Thug Kitchen Cookbook. And I'm going to throw down my favorite thing to do at the end of the day is to cook and listen to podcasts. And so that is my loop back in with the podcast right
clever.
now. Yeah. Thug Kitchen, it brings you back to making cooking fun. There's no pretension. There's a lot of swear words. So crack yourself a cold beer or pour yourself a good drink and have fun in the kitchen again.
I like it. Cool.
Housekeeping. Notarealjob.com. Notarealjob.com/gear for all our gear picks. Twitter.com/Nargcast.
Correct.
/Christopher Patton /SSF Garvey.
I don't use Twitter.
You're on Twitter, though.
Yeah, only because you two are. That's literally
okay. Don't bother finding Steve. He won't respond to you or follow you back. And /Joel Kelly. Facebook.com/notarealjob. Stitcher.com/
It's notarealjob.com/Stitcher. That'll redirect to the right place.
/iTunes, rate and review. And I think that's it. Ask us questions. I mean, if you want to.
Yeah.
It's always we've been doing okay without them, but I mean,
I don't know about okay.
It's always preferable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it for us.
Cool.
Thanks, guys, for listening, and hope the audio quality will not be terrible. I mean, it won't be with Steve, but you know.
I'll do my best. Yes. It'll be great.
Thanks for meeting us here.
Yes, thank you, Steve.
Yes, pleasure.
It's delightful.
England.
So now one day we'll meet Lindsay, and we'll have all met each other in person. Now, I think that means we all need to go to New Zealand.
I think that's what that means.
Is that where Lindsay is?
Yes.
Ooh, this could get fun.
Definitely, it's a good excuse for a holiday. I'd always want to go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, if we all get on the plane together, though, then we could start this plane podcast.
We can
idea.
start the podcast.
like
She has
it.
to meet us at
We
the
can
airport.
choose. We can either be like the row
keep
4,
going.
or we can be
Yeah.
2 and 2, and we'll just keep moving as we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Collecting people. We'll turn into one of those like jam sessions on a plane.
So Lindsay, you're on notice.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Thank you for listening, and we will talk to you
Bye, everyone.
next week.
Right.